Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up, my G.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How the heck are you? And Happy New Year! This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, rocking out another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, coming at you live all the way from the greater Washington, D.C. Metropolitan area over in the Asian Sensation Studios. And we are here. We're live. We're recording. You can call it a brand new episode, like of the 2024 year. That's fine. I'll go along with that. That's cool. But either way, we're here. We're in the booth. I got the microphone hooked up, ready to go. I actually got my notes. Hector was actually here a little bit earlier, and he dropped me a little bit of some information that I needed to know. He gave me a good setup, and we're here. We're actually here, and, first off, I want to say that for everyone that is actually here with us still in the 2024 year, bless you all, because, we did it. We made it. Obviously, that means that we still have a lot to do, and we still have a lot in our lives to go with, and we're just not done. The mission is not complete, and rightfully so. We're here, we're doing it, and I am just excited for this one. I didn't think that this situation would be brought back, but for the fact that we wanted to actually do something cool, we actually brought back one thing that I've always done, which is, me versus 21 questions. Now, I've done this previously, I think, 2 times before. And it was good. I thought it was a really cool time, and I thought it was a real cool moment and so forth. So I had to bring it back. I had to bring this back and, answer 21 questions. Now, these are 21 questions that I picked up, collectively speaking. Some of it new, some of it, it's just wasn't really used. So it was kind of like, I wouldn't say it was in the recycling bin, but it was definitely in the stockpile. So, we got a lot of questions, and collected, some good ones. And I'm going to address them today. And I hope that, everybody will have a good time. I hope that everybody will go ahead and just enjoy what I do. Because, at the end of the day, I do it for you guys. Like I've always said, I've always done it for you guys. Yes, I do it for me too. And it's something that I'm very proud of, because it is a medium of mine. It is a creative medium, being a podcaster, and I love it. But, at the end of the day, you guys are the ones that make it happen, and I'm really happy and I'm really proud to do this, because as an actor going into podcasting, I feel like it's a real smooth transition of just doing one creative world to another, going from one creative art to another. And this is what it's all about for me. It's just expressing myself, doing what I love to do, going through the motions of, art and creativity. And that's why I'm here. Some people are really good in other type of things like, painting and sculpting and making ceramics and industrial art and just doing things where they're, drawing stuff and so forth. And, bless them for that, because they have great ability and talent, more than I will ever have in that world. So I just kind of thought, maybe if I do something a little bit more different in the art world, something that doesn't require much like that, then I'm good. Like, I'm in the races. And right now, we are definitely in the races. Matter of fact, I am here right now. And I, once again, got the microphone and I'm ready to go. 21 questions, and I'm ready for it. A little nervous. I am not, confident at all, but it's all good. Real quick, in the future, for those that do want to drop questions, there are 3 methods of doing that. Number 1, you can actually go over to our podcast webpage on Spotify. Just go over to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience on Spotify, click on any episode, and then you can actually go ahead and drop a question. And whether if you want to mark it public or private, that's totally up to you. Normally I do get it in a private mode, so I'm okay with that. I'm not really I don't take offense if people don't want to put it out in the public, because maybe that's something that it's a question that shouldn't be visually on there. Maybe it's just something for me to address, and to me to address only, and to look at it. So there you go. The second thing is that you can actually drop a tweet on our Twitter, now known as X, and you can go ahead and tweet me, or X me if you will, at TKHPC Experience, all in one word. You can just put it all in lowercase letters, which is totally fine, and shoot me your question, and I'll make sure that I do address it. Last but not least, you can email me over at our Gmail account, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com, under the subject question for your show, and you can just go ahead and drop a question and I will address it. So, without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, the new episode of 2024, an even year. It's also an Olympic year, so in the summer of 2024, we will be seeing the Summer Olympics. And I want to say to my compatriots, go United States of America. I hope that you do well. I hope you succeed, and I hope you bring home the gold. So, without any further delay, let's go ahead and do it. Kim versus the 21 questions. Holy crap, I'm a little nervous, but it's all good in the hood, so let's go. Before I preface anything, and or I address any of those questions, I want to preface that for time constraints, we will not be identifying who actually sent it and where they're from. We're just going to answer the questions, and we're just going to go for it. So, ready or not, guys, Kim versus the 21 questions, part 3. It's a trilogy, so I'm really excited. So here we go. Number 1. How did you spend your New Year's Eve going into the new year? Basically, I actually spent the majority of it visiting my friend's sister. My late friend Jonathan Henderson has a younger sister by the name of Talia, who lives in Osaka, Japan, and she is a elementary school teacher for that school system in Osaka. She recently came back for the holidays, for Christmas, to visit her family and so forth, and spent time, just kind of staying over at her parents and hanging out and having fun. And, I got a chance to see her. And one of the days I really wanted to spend some time with her before she returned back to Japan was over to see her at her parents' house, spend time with her, kind of talk with her and so forth. And those things really do matter, because the Henderson family is an extended family of mine, and I love them dearly. And Talia is my sister. I wouldn't want to say is like a sister, but I feel like is a sister to me. John was a very important person in my life, and he was my best friend, but more so, he was like my brother. And then later on, I just said that he was my brother. So therefore, Talia is my sister. And I love Talia dearly. I love spending time with her when she is around. It just hurts for the fact that she isn't here as often, for obvious reasons, because, she's a teacher and she lives in Osaka, and, that's what she does. But to have that moment and to spend time with her and just to catch up and talk and so forth really meant the world to me. It really did. And I was really appreciative of that. And then when I got home, it was before the new year. It was like minutes prior. I got on TikTok and I was logging in, and I saw that my friend Just Cara from TikTok She's from County Durham, England. She was kind of doing her own thing, her own live, like, hey, I want to do a live and spend a time with all my American friends and, wish them a happy new year and bring in the new year with them, even though in England we already did that. So I thought that was kind of cool. And, that's basically all I did. I didn't want to go out, and party and stuff like that, or go to a place where, there was like a lot of celebrating, just for the fear that I just didn't want to get into any car accidents or anything of that sort, or get into any trouble or any mess like that. So I just kind of kept it low key. But that's not always bad, it's not. So there you go. All right. Question number 2. And excuse me, so I drink some water. So pause. All right. That was some good water. Ooh, man. Here we go. Question number 2. What? Oh, okay. What is the one piece of philosophy that has stuck with you in your lifetime? Oh boy. Oh God, this is a good one. I think the one thing that stood out a lot in my lifetime, and I use this to this day, is that if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Meaning, if you don't stand by your principles and, stand by for what you believe in with conviction, then, anything that you listen, or no, anything that you've been told in life, no matter if it's true or not, you'll just believe it regardless. And I guess that means that, for a lack of a better term, you have to have a belief system, and you have to believe in certain things that you believe are right. Example, if I'm an Asian person that has been picked on a lot, which I have, I'm going to start believing that sooner or later, I don't want that anymore, and I want respect, and that Asian people need to be treated with respect. So with that, I have to believe that all Asian people need to be treated with respect. Otherwise, we're never going to get what we want out of life, and we're going to get picked on a lot. If I don't stand behind that, then I'm going to believe that it's okay for people just to go ahead and make fun of Asian people by any and every means necessary, which is totally false. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely, you got to, stick with your guns and believe in certain things, and, definitely all within reason, of course. But like I always say, and I'll say it again, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. This is something that I learned years ago when I was like a young... I guess I was a young child growing up to a teenager. That's when I learned it. So yeah, there you go. All right, cool. So that being out of the way, question number 3, which is name one thing in the 2023 year that you are very proud of. Easily, I can say that I was very proud of achieving my 3rd degree black belt in the Murukwon style of Taekwondo, and with a teacher in a school that I primarily have trained all my life, and I'm very proud of that. It goes to show you that hard work breeds success, but in my mind, I never really thought that I would have gotten far of, earning a black belt, let alone a 3rd degree. Because the more times that you train, then, obviously the higher the chance you're going to progress in the art in terms of earning that higher rank. And when you become a black belt, there's more responsibility, but there's also a lot of things to learn. And it can be a little bit intimidating. It can be daunting for sure, because, there's these new techniques and these new katas or forms that you got to learn, and new information. And it's a lot more challenging than the previous subsequent knowledge that you have learned. So there's definitely a lot that goes on there for sure. And I just thought to myself, when I first got the first degree black belt, I thought it was the end all be all. But then, when I progressed and earned a second degree black belt, I realized, okay, there's a lot more to it. Earning that third one definitely solidified the fact that, it's a lifetime process and there's so much to learn. And, just because that, you're growing in that right doesn't mean that, you know it all. And that is so true. I'm very proud to have gone down that rabbit hole to see what I could do, to see my potential. And I'm glad to have earned that position, to earn that rank. I still have a long ways to go, being a third degree black belt. To me, that it's great, but it's not like, to me, it's not like you're like a fourth or fifth degree black belt, because that's when you can say at that point, you're really contributing to the art. I'm just merely learning it and just doing everything I can to be a good martial artist, to be a good person, to be a good instructor, things of that nature. So there you go. Question number 4. Oh, geez. Okay, this one's a fun one. What wins your heart between the Nintendo Switch games of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? I do love both games and I think they're fun, but if I had to go ahead and pick one that absolutely won my heart, hands down, I would say Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm sorry, but I like the theme of it, a racing game. It's more exciting to me. I think that the theme of it is a little bit fun, like, fun competitive versus competitive. Because in Super Smash Brothers, like, it's almost like you're fighting to the death and you're trying to see who's the most supreme player, in all this stuff. And as much as I can appreciate it, and I do like it, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has a more of a funner theme, an uplifting theme, and I'm all for that. I feel like everybody does win, but when you win, it's because you won it in such of a way that, to me, at least, it wasn't as super competitive or violent in comparison to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Not to say that I think that Super Smash Bros. Is an Ultimate or any of the Super Smash Bros. Games are violent in general, because compared to the other games out there in the world, they're not. But in comparison to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it does win the violent title a little bit. But, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for me, always loved that game. Always loved the Mario Kart lineup from, when it was on Super Nintendo and all the way up to now on the Switch. So, yeah, that has my heart. Love it to death. My combination's always going to be Yoshi on the Yoshi cycle with the triangular 8 parachute. That is the way to go. And I think it's like one of those wheels that have like the Cadillac spokes on them. So there you go. All right. So we're clanging and banging here. We're doing some good stuff so far. I'm liking it. Question number 5. If you were going to travel to another country, where would you travel and for how long? The length of it's got to be at least 2 weeks, because if I'm going to travel internationally, I want to get a lot out of it. So 2 weeks minimal is what I would like to do. I definitely would like to go to England. I think I've always been a person that has loved the English culture, and I always thought that England is really, really cool. Initially, I always wanted to do London. I wanted to go to London and, just do the stereotypical, foreigner travel, going to a stereotypical town where, there's a lot of tourism and everything like that. But my friend Cara from TikTok, who was just Cara, told me that, to really appreciate it, you got to get out of the city life and just see England for what it is in terms of like the nature and everything. She said the north side is the best side, especially northeast. And I was like thinking to myself, yeah, that definitely sounds, like something I would definitely do. I do like nature. I do like beaches and walking through woods and stuff like that. And, the way that Cara really made it sound like, just selling it to me like some kind of like, traveling agent, I was really sold. I was like, dude, that's what I would like to do. So yes, England for 2 weeks, northeast side, I would love to do that, or the north side. Either way, not in the city, Plus, I hear that when you're out there in that type of environment versus the city, the expenses are a little bit cheaper and more affordable. Whereas in London, everything is so like expensive in London. So, yeah, I think that's the way I would go on that. So, for sure, huzzah. Question number 6. What's your opinion on people having their own fashion sense? It really doesn't bother me as much because honestly, everybody has their own style. And as long as they're not really hurting themselves or hurting anybody else, it really shouldn't matter, It's what you feel comfortable in, and it's what you see yourself with. If you're comfortable in your own skin and wearing something like, pants that have rip marks all over them and you're showing skin of your thigh and your legs, if you're comfortable with that, that's cool. If you're willing to wear a super tight shirt that is like so tight that it looks like that you can't breathe, then yeah, that's fine, or if you like wearing like Vans shoes or Doc Martens or, or Nike, athletic shoes, by all means, that's fine. I've known people that their fashion senses, they like to dress up and wear, a full blown suit every day with nice looking shoes. And I don't have any problems with that. Me normally, I am very versatile. I do like to wear a good looking suit with a tie and a shirt, but I also like to wear jeans and a t-shirt, or in the summertime when it's hot, cargo shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops, because that's just what I do. So I don't really judge on people that, have a unique fashion sense. It's what you feel comfortable with. And if you're cool with that, I'm cool with that. If you're happy with it, I'm happy with it. If you don't like it, hey, it's cool. Just, pick something else. And I think that's fine. Everybody is very unique in that way, and we need to respect each other's uniqueness. You know what I mean? So no doubt. All right, so number 7, we have questions of this magnitude where they ask, those are awesome eyeglasses that you have and that you're wearing. What brand are they? Thank you very much. Yes, these glasses are a pair of Ray-Ban glasses. Yes, Ray-Bans. The same company that does sunglasses. Well, they've been jumping into the eyeglasses game for quite some time. Before, I used to wear Oakleys, and I just thought that Oakleys had a really cool, sporty, durable kind of a thing. But, these Ray-Bans are awesome. They did belong to my late friend, Jonathan Henderson. I just put new lenses on there, and man, it's stellar. They're very comfortable. Probably one of the better eyeglasses that I've had worn in some time. And I really like the look. It's really a first one for me where the body of it, when I mean the body, I mean like the front part where like the nose pieces and bridges are, and where the actual frame, where the eyes are, where the lenses are, they are actually plastic, and I've always worn metal. And to actually transition from a metal frame to like a plastic frame, it takes a little while to get used to, but I like it, and I think it's great. I like the look. I like the way that it feels. They're super light, which was quite shocking. And now I'm wearing them, and I love it. I'm never going to go to another, I don't think I'm going to go for another metal frame eyeglasses in quite a while, but that might be subject to change. But what I have right now is amazing, and these Ray-Bans are awesome. So, yeah, shout out to the Henderson family. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Question number 8. If you had to move out of the Washington, D.C. area, meaning you had to move out of state, then where would you like to live? There are other places that I wouldn't mind living in. One place in particular that I thought would be cool, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I just love the vibe and I love the food scene. It's amazing there. Atlanta, Georgia, because that's where a lot of the acting and stunt work is happening over there. So I would consider Atlanta, Georgia. I also have thought about Los Angeles, California, because that's where acting is, and I really want to get, my feet wet more into acting and, have a more of a stronger career in the world of acting, in acting in film and so forth. So those are my ideal, locations of where I would like to relocate to. But until then, I love living in in Maryland, especially in the area where it's not far from Washington, D.C., and I love it. There's just so many things here that Maryland has that no other state has. But then again, there might be something like what California has that Maryland doesn't have. So it's kind of like the ongoing debate and trade-off, if you will. So there you go. Number 9, do you believe that everything happens for a reason? Yes, everything does happen for a reason, because without an action, there is no reaction. Without a cause, there is no effect. And things happen for a reason. Otherwise, they would not. It would just not be there. It wouldn't happen in the first place. Example. I do believe that because I actually went to karate and I trained for as many years as I did, I earned my black belt, and that is a great thing. How did I earn that black belt? The reason being, or what was the cause of it, was going over to train every day that I could at the dojo or the dojang. And, that was my reason of earning a black belt, was, because my reason was I wanted to earn it fair and square, and I wanted to do that. And without that training, the cause, it just wouldn't have happened. So yes, everything, I believe that, everything does happen for a reason, and I'm really glad that I did that. And I think that everything will happen for anybody, no matter what, whether if it's, in professional, or if it's private, or if it's like romantic, everything will happen for a reason, no doubt. So there it is. Number 10, what are my thoughts on interracial dating? I have no problem with it. I really don't. I always thought that, when you cross cultures and cross, one group of, nationality versus another group, I think it's always been a very beautiful thing. Like Bruce Lee dating a white woman and Linda Lee Cadwell, and then eventually they got, they married and they had beautiful biracial kids, and it's just great. Even like, let's say, for example, black people dating white people dating Latinos dating Asians, and Asians dating Native Americans. I think in that respect, it's cool. It's definitely cool. And like Kara always says, love is love no matter what. You know what I mean? And at least in this case, it shouldn't be defined by the color of our skin, but the character of the person and, how much you really get along with them and so forth. So for me, I'm all about dating whoever, whatever. If I happen to be in a relationship with an African American person, hey, so be it. I would be down with that. As long as she treats me with, love and respect and supports everything that I do. And I do the same for her. And if we have a common bond and if we, get along, then I think it'd be great. Now, the only reason why, in general, it wouldn't work is that if we just kind of hit a snag and it's just preventing us to go any further. But that's not more of a race thing. That's more of a personality nitpicking kind of thing. I do know that there are people out there that think that, oh, you should only date within your race and so forth. And, I just say, who are you to be the person that gets to dictate that? Love is love. And, if you want to go out with somebody different than you are, go for it. If you want to go out with somebody outside your race, do it. There's no law against it. I mean, it's been happening for years, biblically, even before we were born. And guess what? When we leave the earth, there's probably going to be some more, cultural mixing and just more interracial dating. So guess what? People are going to have to really, they're going to have to just accept that, the times of the olden days where, you were being racist and you thinking that just sticking to your own kind, that's over. You know what I mean? So I think that it's really, I think we just really should just kind of, accept the now and the day and today and everything of that sort. So that's what I feel. Question number 11. What's up with the price increases with streaming services like Netflix? I'm just going to use Netflix as more of a direct example since that was specifically named. But, it used to be that Netflix in American prices, I think it was like $4.99 at one point per month. And that was really cool. I don't know what the hell happened because now when I looked at it recently, I think the price jumped up like 4 times. And now it's like $22.99 a month, which is really disturbing. And as much as I do like Netflix, it's not like the greatest online streaming movie service in the world. Especially for that price, I would just say no, absolutely not. I mean, I know that you got like great original content and, movies that, probably are available for streaming that we haven't seen in quite a while. But I'm not going to pay $22.99 a month for your streaming service. I think it's dumb and ridiculous, and I just think that people are doing it because either A, there's a high demand, so they have to kind of keep up with the Joneses and make sure that, they can give everything that they can, but at the same time, the company themselves have to make money. They got to make a profit, otherwise it just wouldn't work. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not really down for that price increase. I think, for all that, I'll rather go somewhere a little bit more less expensive, like, Amazon Prime Video. I'll even go as far as like, in America we have Tubi and Pluto TV, and I'd rather just stick with that because it's free. I mean, yes, there's commercials, but hell, at least I don't have to pay any money out of pocket for it. So there it is. Question number 12. What advice would you give to upcoming podcasters? I would say the following. If you're going to do podcasting, number one, you really have to ask yourself a question of whether or not that you are the type of person that is willing to talk and to really have fun with it. You also have to understand, that it is a challenging task. And if you're not up for the task, it's probably not going to be up your alley. So ask yourself that question first. Number two, I would say if you're going to go into podcasting, understand that you're going to need some really good equipment. And really good equipment is very essential for the quality that you're going to be giving back, to the audience. Example, if you just buy like a $10 microphone and use it to record your stuff, chances are, the vocally wise and the quality of the sound, it's going to sound like horrible. It's going to sound like, the worst piece of music that you ever heard that's just making you tone deaf. I'm not really saying to go ahead and spend like $700 or $800 for a microphone and such like that, but give your stuff like decent quality where people from the naked ear, they hear it and they go, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Last but not least, just have fun. Have fun at what you do with podcasting. And it's applicable. This is applicable in life in general, but in this specific moment of podcasting, have fun being a podcaster and have fun of what you do. Because when you don't have fun, it's like, it's just like more like a job, you know what I mean? And you don't want to treat things like, oh, it's just your job and then really have regrets on it and hating it. You want to actually have fun, have fun with it, because that's what you want to do. You want to have fun and you want to make a difference. So why not actually take the higher road? That's all I'm saying. All right. Question number 13. What exercises would you recommend for a beginner who's just starting out? I am not a professional, person that does professional training for of health for clients of that nature. That's not what I do. But what I will say is that if you want to do something, you got to first get off the chair and get off your duff and do something. What has worked for me is that, I do things like every day. I walk around the neighborhood, and it's like about a full circumference of a lap is about like 1.5 miles. So I usually go for 2. I usually go for about 3 miles just to kind of, get the blood flowing and the blood working. I do like to do a little bit of some shadow boxing and sparring on the punching bag. I always think it's great for a good stress reliever. Just because, I love contact and I like hitting and boom, 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 just doing my thing with that. So I love doing that. Biking, I love biking, especially like if I'm over at like a Planet Fitness and I see a bike available, I will ride it. And I just like to do things of that sort and maybe like a little bit of lightweight work. You definitely want to challenge yourself for sure, but you don't really want to, tire your body out so quickly or make it so sore that you can't move. I always believe that with exercising, you are just getting the blood pumping, and you really do want to challenge it to a good extent. Now, again, I'm not an expert in this field, but I will say that that is what I do, and it is a workout that has worked out very well and is very effective for my needs. But, I would say that if you really want to know more, I would definitely talk to a professional and see what your goals are, what you want to do, and so forth. And maybe they can come up with a really good basic exercise program that you can do, and and you can still get a lot of good results out of it. So there it is. Question number 14. What were the cool, famous people that you have met in your lifetime? Oh, man. The one that really stuck out was meeting Sugar Ray Leonard over at a diner not far from the Washington, D.C. area. That was more by accident. I didn't know he was going to be there, but as luck played out, I met him, and it was great to meet him. I got a picture with him, and he's just, somebody that, I've looked at for years on television, seeing him as a professional boxer and winning these epic fights, you know what I mean? So for me to meet him was definitely an honor and a pleasure, and I just really liked it. It was so, so cool. And, to shake his hand and for him to say, I really appreciate you, God bless you, that was a good moment for me. So I was really, really happy with that. No doubt. Still got the picture online, and I look at it with pride and I smile and I'm like, oh man, that was a beautiful moment. That was a beautiful moment, and one that I will treasure for the rest of my life. And I'm very happy about that. Question number 15. Do you believe in karma? And the answer is yes, I do believe in it. I do believe that, in generally speaking, that if you do nice things and you treat people with the respect and love that they deserve, you're going to get rewarded back, And if you do bad things to people where you're being mean, you're being disrespectful, you're, saying things that you normally should not say to people and that are hurtful, absolutely, I believe in that. I believe that you'll get it back, in that case, 10 times worse. So, it goes to show you that I just think that it's the rule of nature, and it doesn't have to apply to any specific religious affiliations, you know what I mean? Because this type of situation and this type of belief and philosophy has been out here for years, biblically, even before time began. And it's real, So for those that are, continuing to treat people with that love and respect and so forth, bless your heart. Bless your heart. And please continue to do that, because we need more people to be that way. And for those that, continue to be mean to others, to pick on others, to be a bully, to say things that you're not supposed to say because they're hurtful things to others, I just implore you and ask you to please stop. It's not really going to do you any good. It's going to make you look bad. And, it's already bad enough that we kind of live life in the world where, we already have bad things that are happening, and we should not contribute to that. We should really be on the other side of the spectrum. So please, do good things in life and treat people with respect, so the karma will work in your favor. All right. Question number 16. Are cheap things good? Well, if we're talking about in the sense like, you're getting like a name brand piece of clothing or shoes or something, and you get it for like a dirt cheap price, then I guess that would be okay. You know what I mean? But if you get something that is of cheap quality and thinking that it's a lot better than the quality of something that's a little bit more expensive, then at that point I would be like, no, that would not work. Not at all. And I understand, because your intention is like my intention. You want to get something really good for less. And who wouldn't want that? Honestly and truly, I get it. But I always feel like, if you want the best things, you got to be prepared to pay a pretty penny. It's like saying that when you get tattooed, cheap tattoos are not good, and good tattoos are not cheap. You know what I mean? If you think that a cheap tattoo is the best thing, then by all means, let a scratcher go ahead and tattoo you. Let any Joe Bob, Billy Bob, bum off the street tattoo you. Or, I can't believe I'm going to say this, or go ahead and let a crackhead go ahead and tattoo you. I mean, good luck with that. They probably want $50 in a biscuit, but it's going to look like shit. You know what I mean? So be prepared to pay a pretty penny. And it's okay to, because when you pay an expensive price, it's like you're guaranteeing yourself the best quality that money can be invested in. And that's what it is. You're not buying, you're investing. And if you want to invest in the best stuff, please understand that it's going to cost you a little bit more than you should be paying it for. But overall, if you're thinking about longevity, then that should be your reason to just invest a little bit more, financially. So, yeah, I just hope people get to see it in that way. You know what I mean? I hope that people will see that in that way. So, thanks for number 16. I appreciate it. Number 17, the question is, would you rather surround yourself with people that are fake and non-genuine, or would you rather stand alone? Wow. I do like to stand alone sometimes, because I feel like there's some things in life that people subscribe to that are wrong, and I don't believe in it. And when I don't believe in it and I know it's not right, I'd rather be alone knowing that I'm safe and I'm doing the right thing than joining in on the crowd that's doing something that's really risque. And in the other side of the coin is, yes, I would rather stand alone to, be by myself and not be around people that are, two-faced, that are fake, that are non-genuine, that are people that are totally negative Nancy's. And I just don't have time for that. It kind of sucks, because those people that, you shy away from might potentially be good people, but currently they're executing it in the wrong way. And it's unfortunate and it sucks. But, if it's a classic case between me or them, it's definitely not going to be me. So I'm going to do anything and everything that I can to make sure that I stay safe. And if that means I got to be alone, then I'm going to do it. Not everything that people do in life is the right thing. Not everything that they do is the way. Not everything that they do is a solution. You have your life and I have mine. So we're going to leave it at that. Numero 18. Oh wow, this is really going to get me in the doghouse. Why are women difficult when it comes to dating? Wow. Again, this is going to really get me in the doghouse, so I'm going to try to answer it. Men and women are different, because men and women have different ways of thinking, and if women are thinking one way, but you think the other way, it's not so much of it being difficult, but I think it's just like it's differences to agree on something, I also think that in certain paths, women are challenging, because maybe there's something that the person, like me, for example, I'm not used to, or that's just something that I myself wouldn't do. And if it comes to that, then yeah, then it shouldn't be happening. Now it would be one thing if the woman is giving you difficulty on purpose because they don't want to give you a chance. And in that sense, that's wrong. I would definitely say that, you should really do the best that you can to try to understand the woman and for the woman to understand you. And if that can happen, I'm not saying that, that what you want is going to happen, but at least you're walking in the right path and going forward. So that's my official stance on it. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I didn't put myself in the doghouse for it. Okay. Question number 19. Do vitamins really work, or is it a placebo effect? Again, like a previous question, I am not really an expert on this, so I really don't think I'm qualified to answer it. But if you asked me for my opinion rather than actual fact, I always believe that vitamins do work and they are out there for something. In this case specifically, it's supposed to help with the longevity of prolonging your health. So if they claim that it does, these great things for your health and helps prolong it, and there has been some kind of documented proof that it has, then, in that case, I don't think that it's crime. And I think at that point, you would have to believe that it works to a degree. Now, mind you, these things are subject to the individual. It may work great, it may not. But the best way I think that you should approach it is talk to a medical professional, about that. Talk to your doctor and see what happens. So, all right. We're almost done, guys. This is great. Number 20. Name 3 dinner guests that you would like to invite for dinner. They could be dead or alive. They could be famous. They could be non-famous. What would the conversation be like, and what would you hope for? Wow. Actor, martial artist Brandon Lee. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, who passed away. And let me think. Think of a good one. Good one. Michael Jordan, former guard of the Chicago Bulls, 6-time NBA champion, 6-time MVP, and an athlete of my generation. I would hope that the conversation would go well, because I would like to talk to them about, what they felt like, what their contribution to the world was, and how it had, and the impact that it had for mankind. And, I would just hope that, we would all talk and learn about each other and really learn about, life in general, and just come up with some kind of like theme or idea where this can be used going forward to improve mankind as we know it. It would be cool, and in a dream, I think it would be awesome. But who knows? I mean, maybe I might have something like that one day, but except with all people that are living, and that are still alive in the world. So there you go. Last but not least, question number 21, and the final question of this episode, which is, what is your New Year's resolution for 2024? There are a lot of them. I would like to get this podcast show up and running to a point where I would get it to bigger markets, and hopefully, maybe it could be a thing where I could make money out of it. I would love to, improve on my acting and really get into other acting projects and, get known a little bit more. That would be amazing. Maybe actually get to film in a major motion picture in Hollywood and start getting my name, recognized, and for my name to get respected. To fix my car. It was in an accident last year, and I really would like to get it back up and running. To be a better person than I was last year, to be in better health, and just to make a difference in the world. And I think that would be, that's all I want. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that's all that I got. It's definitely been a good one. And I think that with answering 21 questions. That was a lot to handle, per usual. But as always, I try to be as, transparent and honest and, as prepared as I can be. And I really liked it. As always, there is a challenge and there's always that degree of difficulty, but I was able to, do the best that I could with it. And I think that the questions that were presented were very interesting this time. So I really liked it. And who knows? I mean, again, this is just something that I felt like, okay, I could really do this. And hopefully, this won't be the last time that I'll ever do 21 questions. And in a sense, it kind of reminds me of the rapid fire when I actually have my own guests come over and do it. The rapid fire, aka the lightning round, aka I ask them a bunch of questions. Well, this time they actually asked me a bunch of questions. And they actually did that once again through the power of actually submitting a question over to, Spotify's page of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, or just, getting me on the Twitter, aka X, and or emailing me the questions. So yes, if you keep it coming, I'll keep answering it. Just because, and this proves the point, just because if you don't hear your questions doesn't mean that I won't eventually get to it. I might just keep it as a stockpile. I might pull it out when the time is right. I might even just go ahead and just use it whenever in the case of an emergency. But your questions do matter. And yes, I will answer them. And I did use it in the form of an episode that was recorded here. And it's amazing and it's awesome. Guys, I'm running out of time, so here's the deal. You can actually find me on Facebook under the search box and type in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Find me, follow it. I would appreciate it. I am on 2 social media platforms, Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Find me at TKHPC Experience. All in one word, no spacing, lowercase letters. You know the deal. Follow me, I'll follow you back. I am on 5 podcasting platforms. We are on Spotify for podcasters. We are on Apple Podcast. We are on Google Podcast. And we are on Amazon Music. Now, do me a favor. Like and subscribe to my podcast on all the podcasting platforms. And also, if you have Spotify, please give me a 5-star ranking. If you have Apple Podcast, please give me a 5-star ranking and a positive, awesome written review, because the more written reviews and 5-star rankings I get in terms of Apple Podcast, it will actually get to the front of the class. Same thing if you actually do that for Spotify, give me that 5-star ranking. It'll be into the, front of the class. And then that way people might notice it and be like, hey, this is what Joanne was telling me about the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. And it's, it's definitely worth, checking into. They may listen to it. They may like it. They may subscribe to it. And they may tell their friends. You know what I mean? So, that being said, always do some brand awareness. Please spread the word about the podcast either through word of mouth or on social media, such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now known as X, or even, we have Snapchat and TikTok. So if you can do that for a brother, I definitely would appreciate that. Last but not least, if you want to be either a guest on my podcast show or a special guest host, if you have any questions that you want to ask me, because we do a lot of Q&A now, you can email me there. Or if you just have any constructive criticism, please email it at our Gmail address, which is the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. That is the email address and the only email address that we have. Whatever the subject is, write the subject, whether if you want to be a guest, say I want to be a guest. or if you have a question, type in Q&A question or whatever. And then whatever you have to write about it in the body, and then email it within 24 hours. If I get that email, I will respond back, because that is the right thing to do and the most respectful thing to do. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is all that I got, and I really appreciate it. We're here. 2024 is the new year. We made it, baby. And we're hoping that there's going to be more content, more good things. I would like to have more interviews with special guests. So for anybody that's interested, please let me know, especially those that have that creative medium. If you're a painter, if you're a sculptor, if you do drawings and whatnot, if you're a chef, if you're a tattoo artist, if you're a martial artist, if you're a dancer, whatever the creative medium that you got, let me know. We can definitely make it work. Or, even like actors, directors, people that do stunts, people that are involved with fight choreography. You're in that label too, so definitely hit me up and let me know what's up. Any other podcasters, I'm down for a one-on-one chat to see how you operate and how you work. You know what I mean? It's all good in the hood. This is what we do. I'm supporting you guys just as much as you support me. That's just the golden rule. But again, we are out of time. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a blast. Please be safe, and please, make good choices in life, guys, because it doesn't do me any good if you actually make the wrong choice, or a choice that's not good for your health, and it's going to bury you 6 feet under with you actually being in the pine box. Not what we want from you. We want you to do well. We want you to be successful. We want you to be healthy, and we definitely want you to be happy, because you deserve it. It is the way that it should be. And, anything that we can do in life to make our lives a little bit better in a positive way, let's do that. You know what I mean? Life is too short. We're already hating people for the dumbest stuff in the world. Why hate people when, you can love people? And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. Guys, it's definitely been real. For the one time, coming in from the Asian Sensation Studios in the greater Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. This is your boy, Kim Hoang, saying thank you so much. I love you guys. It's a new year, a brand new year. It's a brand new start. Let's start it off on the right foot, you know what I mean? And, I love you guys very, very much from the bottom of my heart. Guys, thank you. It's been real. We're going to do it again soon. All right? I am out of here. Peace.